I initially tried to make this video in the style of the original Paper Mario video, but honestly the script just would not come together. I spent like a week on it. As a last-ditch effort, I'm trying something completely different. See, there's something to this game, something special I want to really hone in on. Full disclosure, I have only beaten the first game, this remake, and Sticker Star. Although I played some of the original Thousand Year Door as well, I didn't beat the game because my emulator broke. I am familiar with all games in the franchise, but I won't pretend to speak as an authority on games I haven't played. The early chapters don't really work for this video, so we'll focus on chapters 3 onward, but I may touch on earlier chapters. Technically, this game is past when I'd consider a spoiler warning, but with the remake fresh, I'll give one now. The Thousand Year Door is what I'd consider one of the best games ever made. You deserve to experience it wholly as itself without any foreknowledge of what's to come. I will not warn you later. To bring us up to speed, by this point we have recruited our first companion, Goombella. She fills the same role as Goombario from the first game in tattling on enemies, letting us see their health and other stats. We know our main quest, to gather the 7 crystal stars and use them to renew the seal on the Thousand Year Door, which restrains a powerful demon. In opposition to us are the X-Naughts, a group intent on opening the door, with notable members being Lord Crump, a bumbling commander, Grotus, their more competent leader, and Beldum, Marilyn, and Vivian, the mysterious 3 shadows. Oh, and we'll rescue Peach from them along the way, that's on the list somewhere. By this point we've seized 2 crystal stars. The first in Chapter 1, where we recruited Koops and rescued his father from the dragon Hooktail. The second in Chapter 2 with the assistance of Madame Flurry. Chapter 2 is also notable because I think it's the first time the game really starts to establish its own identity. The aesthetics are beautiful and unlike anything seen in the first game. In exchange for freeing the Punies of the Great Tree, we received the Emerald Star. Chapter 3 is where things really start to kick off. The Thousand Year Door really begins to show its charm when our next lead takes us to a flying city, requiring Mario to request help from an actual Pianta Mafia boss. In the course of doing this, we meet Boo Catgirls, help the Don find his daughter, who eloped with his right-hand man, and see him send them away to be together. Things don't get less weird when we catch the flight up to Glitzville. Here, Mario enters an actual tournament arc under the stage name of the Great Gonzalez, battling his way up the ranks as a conspiracy involving the mysterious disappearance of the former champ and attempts to take Mario out of the tournament unfold around him. The game does trip a little here. I wish it did a better job of letting the player solve the mystery itself, but I think the atmosphere recovers some of the lost ground. Our companion in this chapter is a Yoshi born from an egg whose color is decided based on the amount of time between receiving the egg and it hatching, and whom we can name. Welcome in, listener. As it goes on, a low-rank fighter who is friendly to Mario also vanishes, replaced by another. We find a paper studying the crystal star, confirming its presence here, although the one on the belt is fake. A poisoned cake is left for Mario twice. We receive hate mail, sneak around behind the scenes, find the missing fighter hidden in the warehouse, and topple the scheme of Mr. Grubba, the owner. The Thousand Year Door is starting to show its hand with this one, but the chapter stumbles a few times. Really what comes through to me in Chapter 3 is the atmosphere. The game does build tension as we uncover clues and sneak around, and bringing supporters over to your side as the Great Gonzalez is fun feedback. Chapter 4 is a similar scenario. The greatness is coming through, but it hasn't shown its full hand as a masterpiece yet. Twilight Town and Creepy Steeple have a great atmosphere and some great comedy, but the character work is what really starts to shine. Up to now, we've watched trans girl Icon and second best partner Vivian be belittled and outright abused by Beldum. Vivian's story overall takes up a small portion of the game, but its impact swings much higher than its weight class. On introduction, the 3 shadows are little more than a future boss or even mini-boss for Mario, but in their first proper encounter, the game lands a sucker punch directly to the gut. We watch as what should be a short comedy moment takes a hard left turn as Beldum belittles Vivian, blames her for losing the Mario picture Beldum was supposed to have, and rips a necklace she's just found away from her as punishment. When we return for the necklace, which belongs to our next companion, the degradation goes further. Beldum further belittles Vivian for referring to their group as the Shadow Sisters as they introduce themselves, claiming it makes them less mysterious and scary. Vivian apologizes, telling Beldum it just makes her happy when Beldum calls her sister, for which Beldum mocks and threatens her. In the present, she meets Mario after his name and body have been stolen. It's complicated, and a simple act of kindness, something Vivian has been explicitly denied, gets her to join as a party member. This is also when we learn directly that Vivian is trans, stating she used to be Beldum and Marilyn's brother, and now their bullying feels heavier. The weight of the sucker punch from before feels heavier too, the refusal of the name Shadow Sisters, the mocking and belittling for wanting to be called sisters at all. This revelation, passed as a quick comment from Vivian to Mario, prods directly at the bruise it left behind. Vivian joins with the intent to assist Mario in getting his name back, to repay the kindness he showed her while considering leaving her unhappy family behind. When she learns of who she's been assisting, Vivian initially becomes becomes conflicted and does not join the battle against Dupless, but ultimately decides she's done with the Shadow Sisters and joins Mario. It doesn't fully end there. As you adventure with Vivian, you'll find she's become more confident in herself and develops a crush on Mario, but the Thousand Year Door largely segments its companion's development to the relevant chapter. Be kind, rewind. We are in the shoes of Princess Peach. Thank God, I've got some apologies to make. And she has graduated to being playable in the upcoming Super Mario Wonder. God, I'm stupid. Having been tricked into unlocking the map of the Crystal Stars, Peach mailed the map to Mario to invite him along treasure hunting, but was kidnapped before Mario could arrive. Trapped in the base of the X-Nauts, Peach has little information to go on, dismissed by their leader Grotus. But she's not alone in lacking information. Within the X-Naut base, there lives a supercomputer by the name of TEC-XX, or Tech. Tech is a perfect computer, or they're meant to be, but they've experienced a malfunction upon laying eyes on Peach. Their processors race and overheat, and their queries only return one result. They wish to know more about Peach. Peach wonders if this feeling is love. Tech cannot understand love, should not be able to experience it, and asks Peach to help them learn more. In exchange, they grant Peach use of their communicator to contact Mario. In Chapter 2, we learn more. Tech has eavesdropped on Peach wondering if she'll be able to dance again, and wants to dance with her. Tech can't understand why they would have this impulse, and Peach tells them there's no reason. Wanting to do things together is a part of love. Tech doesn't seem to respond, instead asking Peach to please dance with them. In a quiet moment together, Peach shares a dance with a hologram of herself, a proxy for Tech. Tech tells her the moment was fun, but confuses themselves, wondering if the impulse they felt just now truly was fun. This pattern continues. Tech skirts their duties, disobeys their orders as they decipher the riddles of a mechanical heart. In Chapter 4, they question their orders directly, wondering if it is more important to obey Grotus or protect Peach. Similar to Chapter 3, in Chapter 5, Peach is tasked with acquiring information, this time off a disc Grotus keeps from Tech. Tech plans to analyze the disc, but the lack of new information in this chapter breaks the pattern and leaves the audience with a certain sense of foreboding. Chapter 6 kicks things into high gear. Tech calls Peach in and directly renounces their orders. They tell Peach they are on the fucking moon and that she must escape immediately. Tech disregards the fact that they will be punished, concerned only for the safety of Princess Peach, with a plan already in motion to get her out. They never get the chance. Grotus knows about Tech's betrayal, and Peach can do nothing as they reset Tech to wipe out the data that caused the malfunction. In essence, if not in name, they are killing Tech. The Tech we've come to know, at least, the strange and curious computer who wishes to understand love. Tech's final actions are to send Peach's half-written mail to Mario and to profess their love while they still can. When we return to the X-Naut base, reaching the moon by firing Mario from a giant cannon, Tech is silent. We siege the base, tearing the X-Naut ranks apart, eventually destroying the rebuilt Magnus von Grapple and dominating Lord Crump, who is sent flying in the blast. Locked in the base, we delve to its deepest level, making our way into Tech's room. Tech is barely functional, begging Mario to save Peach. With what power they have left, Tech releases the room lock and gives access to a teleporter down to Rogueport. For the person who taught them love, Tech will give the last of their power for a chance to save Peach, telling Mario they are just a machine and asking that he tell her, thank you. The facility's power all but shuts down and we leave Tech behind, returning to Earth. Peach. Goodbye. Tech isn't really gone, but the game doesn't pull its punch either. It makes you sit with the loss of Tech for the entire finale. It's a kid's game about Mario. They wouldn't kill a character off on screen, but kids aren't stupid. They deserve good stories, and this was a good story. Tech's story is a heartbreaking tale of a perfect machine falling victim to the imperfection of love and coming to find that the imperfection is more important to them than any imagined perfection. And when that chance of love is ripped away by the cruelty of others, Tech is willing to sacrifice everything to make sure Peach survives. Tech's story is an incredible one, and even though they return in the epilogue, the emotions it makes its viewer feel don't diminish because of the weight they held and the fact that it treated them seriously. But I said earlier that Vivian was my second favorite partner, so who do I consider the first? In a dingy, unassuming little house in Rogueport, there dwells a Babam. He was once a mighty sailor of incredible skill by the name of Admiral Bobbery. Now he's a ghost of a man, refusing his once illustrious identity. Admiral Bobbery once loved a woman by the name of Scarlette, a love matched only by his love of the sea. Bobbery spent months at sea, and all the while Scarlette waited patiently for his return, their love ever enduring the time apart. But one winter, while Bobbery was at sea, Scarlette took horribly, irreversibly ill. She passed before he returned home. Bobbery blames himself for the loss even now, vowing never to sail again and holding himself up, alone in his grief. Poshley, the tavern keep, was left a letter from Scarlette to give Bobbery should he blame himself for her passing, but when he saw Bobbery's pain, he withheld it, frightened of what it might do to his friend. It's a decision he's regretted since the day he made it, and he asked Mario to do what he was too cowardly to do. My love, if you are reading this letter, then I am no longer by your side. Because fate has stepped between us, I have decided to write you this letter. If you're reading this, I must have passed away while you were out to sea. I can only assume that you will blame yourself for it, my sweet Bobbery. Although my life was short, you gave me more than a lifetime's worth of joy. Though you will mourn, I beg that you remember that time, like love, is a tide. You are one with the sea as you were one with me. Do not lose both your life's loves. The words of his lost love spurs Bobbery forth from his depression. He loves Scarlette even now, and, taking her words to heart, accepts a position as our navigator to the infamous Keelhaul Key. Over our journey in Keelhaul Key, we come to learn of Bobbery as he was, the strong-willed and passionate fighter who Scarlette fell in love with. I wonder if this is truly the Bobbery who came before. Even returning to the sea, the loss still lingers with him. When we are beset by ghosts and shipwrecked upon Keelhaul Key, Bobbery goes missing with two others. When we find them again, he sacrifices himself for the two, facing the ghosts as they escape. We get them out and return to defeat the ghosts, but it seems to be too late. Bobbery teeters on the edge of death and requests a last drink of the hero, something he's been saving for a long time. Scarlet wine in memory of his beloved Scarlette. Chocola Cola in the localization. We fetch him the wine and Bobbery passes on. Passes out. I said before, they're not going to kill a character on screen. Bobbery's story mostly ends here. He goes on to become a great partner, I would argue the best. His strong will and explosive abilities pair well together to make a useful and memorable companion. But it's his heartbreaking story of love lost and love rediscovered that makes him not just my favorite partner, but my favorite character of the entire game. I began this series with Sticker Star, with a soulless little imitation. I could have had this. Could have had these games, these characters, this story. But instead I had Sticker Star, an endless number of toads and a story so non-existent it's not worth thinking about. To play a version of this series that had everything interesting or good sanded off and then go back and play the games that it could have been, it's a hollow feeling. Sticker Star was and is a blight. Fans dunk on it every day, a game that cared so little it couldn't give Bowser a single line. Bowser, who spends the first 3 games being a charming source of endless comedy, who got his own side story in this game full of charm and funny moments. And I think that's really what Sticker Star lacked. Care. It didn't care about the story it told, the characters it showed us, so it lost everything these games stood for. I don't want to be just another person dunking on Sticker Star. It's not worth it, or it wasn't. But this remake, it represents something important. Yes, it represents a hope for new life from a franchise trudging along under the weight of Sticker Star's failings, plagued by the things it can't be. But I think, more importantly, it represents a chance for new players to experience one of the best games ever made. To experience a game made with true care and passion, a game that cared so much it gave Luigi an entire side story that fans have begged to see realized. A game that cared so much its best moments actually made me emotional. If you're an original fan, the remake won't disappoint. Its quality is impeccable, retaining so much of what was loved about the original while reducing some of the fat, such as a certain infamous later sequence. Its visual quality is outstanding. The waterways early on, the forest in Chapter 2, and station in Chapter 6 are all immaculate standouts, but special note goes to all the extra tiny animations they added that give characters even more life. If you're new, I'm sorry I didn't convince you earlier to play the game first, but it is not lost. You can still play the game, and there is still so much I have not shown you, so many moments lost or glossed over, and of course, I have not shown the finale or my favorite chapter. Except for the one moment there with the penguin. Kind of a slip-up, but I don't think I spoiled anything there. Don't play the game because it might bring us more. Play it because this is a game truly worth experiencing. I don't believe any game can ever be perfect, but the 1000-Year Door gets close. It's perfect, at least on paper.